Hello everyone and welcome back to another video and Happy New Year! It is the end of one story but the beginning of a brand new year, a brand new story on the horizon, and I think that we're going to spend today talking a little bit more about that. So today on the Logstone we ended up getting our New Year's greeting just like we do every year. And this year is particularly special because not only is this directly after Endwalker, but Yoshi-P went ahead and did a little bit more explaining than he usually does. So if you go straight off to the Logstone, you can actually get a quick look at it right now. So this is the New Year greeting, which talked a little bit more about Endwalker, about what their plans are, as well as their adventures up to this point, and of course the poem that we get at the beginning of each year. So I'll go into more depths about the poem in just a moment. So, though they regret they had to delay Endwalker by 2 weeks right before its original slated date for release, it was the conclusion for the saga of Hydaelyn and Zodiark, which began all the way back in 1.0. It's been a full 11 years since Yoshi-P went on board with Final Fantasy XIV, and he admits that he feels like he put everything he had into this expansion. And it really does show that, if you ask me. It really does show, because the level of depth and just how much love went into this whole thing really shows. Aside from the game content, he does mention a little bit more about the large influx of players that started joining up since last year, and how the impact of COVID-19 had on just the server equipment and everything here, including extremely long login queues. And they do apologize for that again. They are now currently working on trying to find a way to handle that, see if they can increase the number of worlds in all regions, adding more data centers, and they just ask for our patience, which I understand and I full-heartedly approve of. So with Endwalker winding up this tale that we began for so long ago, the story of Final Fantasy XIV is far from over. So they've already begun creating new journeys for the Warriors of Light, or as adventurers as we now are back to being called apparently. And they do give us a little bit here of this poem. As Yoshi-P was thinking about his next adventure, he found a piece of paper that had been left on his desk, and it should be written on it but another poem from the memoirs of a reconciled man. So I'll go into more depths about the poem and its different variations in a moment, but in the English version it says, "So wanes the moon before the sun, its journey ended, home at last. So look we now to days ahead, unfeathered from our trying past. Having welcomed the dawn of rebirth, taken to azure skies, liberated a land stained crimson, restored darkness to a light-filled world, and now standing with the waning moon at our back, our adventurers set their sights on a new beginning." Well, that's his take on it anyway, which is very odd because he very rarely goes into real details about these poems. Usually these poems are a little bit of a clue to what we can be expecting for the new year. I don't know if it has anything to do with the fact that the poem did come out literally just a couple weeks after the ending of the story. Final Fantasy XIV has surpassed 10 years of operation, and they had their sights set on at least another 10 more. The story with Hydaelyn and Zodiark was only the ending to the first saga, and now they are going to be working on the second. So 6.1 and onward until 7.0 is going to be just setting up the story for the next series of sagas. The first step of the new leg of our journey is patch 6.1, ahead of which we'll take the opportunity to share our plans for the future, and they are hoping that we look forward to it, which I know I am, and everyone is already talking about where we're going to go. Yoshi-P then says that it's crazy that starting with 2022, this is going to be his 12th year at the helm of Final Fantasy XIV, and he can't help but be amazed that he's not bored with it yet. I mean, he does have other projects that he's working on, such as with 16, but this here is supposed to be his life's work. There's so much more that he wants to achieve with 14, and he hopes to continue developing and growing the game with everyone else. Endwalker is the culmination of everything they've built up over the last 11 years, and he's well aware that it's going to be very difficult to surpass Endwalker. But they are seriously taking to heart everything that's going on. They want to continue to build on all the stories, the experiences, the emotions, and try to reach new heights. And I agree, it is going to be very, very difficult to try to top Endwalker, especially since it was the ending to Saga 1, but I have faith in Yoshi-P and his entire team. I wasn't sure if they could top Shadowbringers for me, which again was an absolutely phenomenal story. But Endwalker is now the one to beat. As for the other variations, I actually did the translations for both Japanese and the German versions of this little poem, as well as the French version, sorry. So in Japanese, it is now listed as, looking up at the morning moon, I recall the days gone by. As it fades into the rising sun, I smile and celebrate the days to come. It returns to heavens, whence it came, signals the end of a long journey, and the beginning of another to illuminate distant lands unknown. I like that one. It's longer than I thought it would be, but I really love the Japanese version. In the German version, it's roughly translated as this. Silently it grows, the morning moon, memorial eternal to distant days, but the dawn fills me with warmth, and light path unwalked in gilded rays. It's just as short as the English version, but it's oddly a little bit more beautiful. And finally, with the French version, the sélénien star, a final reminder of ancient past, fades before the dawn, foretelling better days at last. The morning sun returns from shining on distant bounds, and towards new and far horizons the lighted way is found. After reading all of these, this here is just, it really just spells out exactly what this is. It's a manifestation of Yoshi-P reassuring us that this is just the end of one journey. And not really as the Warrior of Light anymore, it's really, we're back to the Adventurer. Like, I noticed that very rarely has the character been referred to as the Warrior of Light anymore throughout all of Endwalker. They're referred to more as an adventurer again, rather than the Warrior of Light, which is kind of strange, but I also really like that. And just because this one story has come to an end, by no means is the end of 14. It's just the end of this first story. But I also get the feeling that maybe he was also trying to reassure himself that we players will embrace that promise, since he offered his interpretation explicitly this time. And we are now unburdened by the duty to fall in line with that story. We can do whatever we want, go wherever we want, without having to worry about what Hydaelyn and Zodiark and the Ascians are all going to be involved with. I mean, we still have a few questions that we have to answer, and there's still so much left to do, more fun to be had. It is said that all the other Ascians have been taken care of, though we really don't know how that happened. It could be that maybe they were just finished off in like the other shards, because I doubt that the Source was really the only one responsible for taking care of so many Ascians. But I'm very much looking forward to where the story is going to now that we're unfeathered by just the Ascians themselves. Like Zodiark, Hydaelyn, that's all taken care of. We are free from that storyline. As much as I loved it, we are free from it. But I'm very much looking forward to see where the story goes now. Distant lands, I can't help but wonder if we're going to like the New World or Mericidia. There are those places that Mxelk mentioned while we said our goodbyes to him at near the end of Endwalker, spoilers there. We still have the other shards, such as the Void that we have to go to eventually. And they even mentioned time travel. I did not think that they were going to throw time travel into this whole thing, but it strangely works, and I love how they did it this time, but hopefully they don't rely upon that too much. Now that we have a fresh understanding of the history of the star, we still know precious little. I mean, there's still the whole idea with the 12. Apparently we're going to be learning about their identities. Even Mxelk himself says that we know precious little even about our own Eorzea, which, to be honest, I kind of have to agree. I mean, I like to think that I know a lot about the lore, but it's really more recent lore about pretty much what you can look up in the Logstone or online or anything. I've done a lot of research about this, so I do hope they're going to go into a lot more depth about maybe not as ancient history, but as history about the land in total. I mean, Yoshi-P does seem a little bit anxious about proving that Hydaelyn and Zodiark is just the first saga, it's just chapter 1. It's just part of a larger main scenario that we're going to be getting as a whole once this whole thing does finish up eventually. Though, according to them, the story will never end, so... I love that. I really do love that whole idea. I don't know what they have in store for this story from here on out, but I know that I love this game. It has changed my life all the better, and I just love this entire storyline. I'm so glad that I was talked into playing this game and trying out the free trials. so long ago. Like, I don't even remember how long ago. I think it was like 6, 7 years ago at the very least, probably longer than that. But I want to thank everyone for watching. I hope you all enjoy this. You have a lot of fun in the game from here on out, and that we can all enjoy these new experiences and what they have planned together. So until next time, everyone, this is Fantasy Girl signing out, and once again, have a Happy New Year.